Now, welcome back. It's time now we talk with our head women's and men's track and field head coach, Natalie Bach-Prather. Coach Prather, it's been a couple weeks since your last meet, but just kind of talk about, if you can recall, just anything that particular that happened. I believe, I've lost track of the dates as well, but you probably remember. Just kind of talk about the last meet.
Well, we had SFA 2 weeks ago, and then last minute on our schedule, we went to A&M Commerce and just took a handful of athletes. Those athletes that are close to getting those national rankings for D3 outdoor championships. It went well. The weather was terrible, but they did well, and it was a good extra one last little practice before our conference meet this weekend.
And just speaking of going into conference, you said coming in that your team was really pumped. So is it going to be kind of hard to kind of reel all that energy in and convert that to positive results on the track for your team since they're so excited, for this the final meet of the year?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of excitement. This is a good thing. This is what we've trained for all year. This is the meet that counts. This year is actually going to be probably the toughest competition. The teams in our conference are bringing it. I mean, we have way more full track teams that will be competing at this meet than we have had in past years. So that's exciting. And there's a lot of teams, us and Laterno and UT, Tyler, McMurray. I mean, we're all kind of going in. Hardin Simmons, it's anyone's game for those top three spots. So it'll be fun. It'll be, we've got to kind of control that energy a little bit because it's easy to go out really hard that first day on those prelims on Friday and waste our energy for Saturday. But I think we've done a lot of talking, a lot of coaching up to just stay steady. Let's get through Friday. Let's make it to the finals, and then we'll unleash that excitement.
Now, it seems like, I could be wrong as far as the premise of every meet. You just go there, you run, you compete as hard as you possibly can to get as, top rankings or wherever you can. And in case for some of your athletes, you try to get NCAA regionals to make the outdoor championships. But does it seem like that every meet brings out, is it like the same premise with the exception of this upcoming meet because there's a lot more at stake? Or is it just like there's a different setting or tone with every meet that you have competed in this year?
There's definitely a different setting and tone depending on where we're going. We're determined on if we think this day is going to be a good day for those PRs, those personal records. Are we just competing in the one event? Are we competing in multiple? Who are we competing against? So we kind of have a strategy for every meet we go into to determine what's our energy level going to be like. They always know that when it's when it's go time, it's time to give 100%. But we just have our strategies. You can't give 100% if you're doing maybe 4 or 5 different events in a meet. And so we go, let's go out strong for this one. Let's go all the way for this one. Let's hold back a little bit. But for conference, it's all in. So we always have our kids, who may have only been doing 1 or 2 events. We got a couple guys that are doing 5 events. Their A race is going to be, let's say, Mac Broussard, his A race will be the 10,000 Friday evening. And then anything after that is going to be extra. But he'll have the 5K at 9, and then we'll throw him in the 1,500, and then the 800, and then we're throwing him in, I think, maybe in the 400. And he's doing the steeplechase. But at that point, it's like we've competed in the one race. It's really important. Now let's see how much we can compete for the rest of the weekend. And everyone kind of does that for conference, but everyone knows it's time to do what we've trained for. So,
and that's actually going into what my next question was, because I know in my days as a track athlete, this is my first year in NCAA, but at NAIA they would usually kind of put athletes and runners in all kinds of different events for the purposes of scoring. But how does that kind of trigger, kind of mess with the mindset of the athletes? Are they prepared for that, or are they kind of expecting that already, or would it be like a complete surprise for them to be doing an event that they haven't done all year?
Our returning athletes are fully aware of what the strategy is. I think our freshmen, it's always a little bit of a surprise, but we've done a much better job of preparing them. A few weeks back we did a meet and we put them in events they've never done before. We shook them up mentally, and so that was a really good test run. And they know they're fully aware of what they have to do. We got a couple guys, Leo Brownfield and Datavian Lewis, that have only been sprinters up to this point, but they're both long jumping for conference. They did it in high school. We've had a little bit of practice, but they're all aware. And now we don't overload our freshmen like we do some of our upperclassmen. Some of our upperclassmen, we're maxing them out, but they know. In Abilene, we're not. Anytime we go to Abilene, we're not getting those record times because of the wind. We never have. We never will. We may in an event or two, but they know it's time to compete, and it's all about getting those points. So.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck to you this weekend as you compete in the ASC Championships. Now we will turn things over. We'll step aside, and we'll talk with our final head coach. You know who it is, but we'll have him on in just a moment.